everyone and welcome to today's class on informal economy. Today we are going to embark on a fascinating exploration of the informal economy concept. We will see into its meaning, why it's critical for bottom of the pyramid customers and how businesses can thrive in this space while empowering millions. Let's start by understanding the basics of informal economy. In first segment of this session, we will try to understand the informal economy and introduction about it. The informal economy represents all economic activities that occurs outside government regulations, tax systems and legal frameworks. This sector is particularly significant in developing nations like India, where it plays a pivotal role in employment and economic growth. Globally, it supports nearly 2 billion workers, underscoring its importance as a key driver of livelihood and economic resilience. In India, more than 90% of the workforce operates in this sector, contributing nearly 50% to the GDP. It highlights indispensability in sustaining the country's economic framework. Next, we will try and understand the next concept or the overview of informal economy. To understand that, we will see key features of the informal economy. The first is unregulated operations. The informal economy thrives on businesses like street vending, repair work and small scale farming, which operate without formal adherence to tax or any labor laws. Nearly 80% of India's labor force is employed in such kind of sectors, with agriculture alone accounting for half of the jobs. It is creating an irregulated system. The second thing is cash driven transactions. Despite the rise of digital payments, cash remains the dominant mode of transactions in India, making it easier for unbanked and underserved population to engage in commerce. The next thing is adaptability in the informal economy. Informal enterprises demonstrate exceptional flexibility, quickly responding to changing consumer demands, local trends and economic shocks, such as during pandemics. The next is community-centric model. Relationships and trust are fundamental. Local connections often substitute for formal contracts, strengthening community ties and enabling seamless operations in the community. So, now we will see what are the economic contribution of informal economy. In Kenya, the informal economy contributes 34% to the GDP, while in Brazil it represents around 16% of their GDP. In India, the informal sector accounts for 80% of non-agricultural employment and provides livelihood for millions of micro entrepreneurs, including street vendors, artisans and home-based producer for bakery and other product. Informal economy is having huge contribution into the economics. Some examples of informal economic sector. First, street vendors in Indian metros. Cities like Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata, they rely heavily on informal vendors for daily necessities. For instance, Mumbai hosts over 250,000 registered street vendors, catering to millions daily with products ranging from fresh produce to electronics. India's informal handloom sector is another good example. The handloom industry employs over 4.3 million artisans and contributes significantly to preserving cultural heritage. Products like Banarsi silk sarees from Varanasi are predominantly produced in informal setups. So, this sector exemplifies how tradition meets modern market demands and also contribute both to local livelihood and global exports. In the next segment, we will see the role of informal economy specifically to BOP markets. For that understanding how it works in BOP market, we need to see for individuals at the bottom of the pyramid who earn less than rupees 250 on their daily basis, the informal economy serves as a lifeline. It bridges the gap between affordability, accessibility and adaptability. Let's dive deeper into how this sector supports their need. Let's see the first point of affordability. Price sensitivity dominates BOP market, where every rupee matters. The informal economy thrives by minimizing this cost, operating outside formal taxation systems, reducing compliance burdens, and maintaining low overhead expenses. If we look at some data inside, approximately 94% of India's informal workers earn less than 10,000 rupees per month, underscoring the significance of affordability for their daily lives. Good example can be Sarojini Nagar Market, Delhi. The iconic marketplace offers second-hand import surplus clothing at prices often 60–70% lower than formal retail outlets. For BOP households, this makes quality goods accessible without breaking any bank. The second important factor of these 4A's were accessibility. BOP communities are often located in underserved regions where formal retail chains rarely venture. Informal vendors meet these needs by setting up near residential clusters, transportation hubs or in weekly bazaars. To understand, let's see a case of Kirana Stores India. It has over 13 million Kirana stores, which accounts for more than 80% of retail consumption in rural and low income areas. Such stores offer credit option to the customer, extending short term credit to regular customers. It also offers customizable quantities, selling in small affordable amounts. It also offers convenient locations, which often a short walk from their household or the locality where they are situated. The third aspect is adaptability and customization. Resourcefulness defines the informal economy. Entrepreneurs in this sector often craft solutions tailored to local needs that large corporations struggle to replicate. Take an example of mobile repair shops. Mobile repair shops in Bihar and Jharkhand, with over 5 lakhs mobile repair shops in India, many operates informally, particularly in regions lagging formal service centers of the brand. These shops creatively reuse spare parts to offer low-cost smartphone repairs, ensuring connectivity and remains with reach of BOP individuals. So that is how it is very important to be available. Then the fourth part is creating employment. The informal sector is the backbone of employment in BOP communities. It engages millions in diverse roles from street vendors and construction workers to domestic help and artisans. If we see some data highlights, India's informal economy employs nearly 80% of the workforce and contributes 40–50% of the GDP of the country. Take an example of very famous case, Mumbai's Dabbawalas. Operating with informal organizational structures, Mumbai's Dabbawalas deliver over 2 lakhs lunch boxes on daily basis. Their efficient logistics system not only feeds the city's workforce, but sustains livelihood for the thousands of workers. Mumbai Dabbawala became such a huge case where they got 6 sigma from big universities and known universities. So, to conclude, the informal economy is more than just a sector. It's a survival mechanism for BOP markets. Its strength lies in meeting affordability, accessibility and adaptability challenges while providing crucial employment to BOP people. Understanding and supporting this system can enhance its role in uplifting BOP communities. We need to understand this segment where we need to discuss why businesses should engage with the informal economy. Why informal economy is important to understand by the marketers who want to go into BOP markets or who want to serve BOP market. Businesses which are targeting bottom of the pyramid markets cannot afford to ignore the informal economy. They need to collaborate with this ecosystem and create a win-win proposition for companies and communities alike. Let's see into the key reason why it is important for businesses to go and deal with informal economy. First reason, it provides last mile connectivity. The informal economy's reach into rural and semi-urban areas often surpasses that of the formal supply chains. This makes it invaluable channel for companies looking to penetrate hard to reach markets. Let's take an example which we discussed before also, Project Shakti by Hindustan Unilever. Hindustan Unilever launched Project Shakti to address challenges in rural market penetration. The initiative empowers women in rural India by training them as micro entrepreneurs, known as Shakti Ammas, to sell its product in their communities. Around them, small villages, they go and sell it. So, over 1,60,000 Shakti Ammas operate in 18 states, enabling HUL to reach approximately 1,25,000 villages, with plans to expand to 1,75,000 villages in the near future. The second reason for Project Shakti is it is improving their sales contribution. By 2004, Project Shakti accounted for over 15% of HUL's rural revenue, showcasing its effectiveness in bridging gaps in last mile connectivity. So, that was about first reason why business has to reach to informal economy setup. It can take them to last mile. The second reason is leveraging local trust. Informal entrepreneurs are deeply rooted in their communities. Their established relationship provide trusted channels for businesses to engage with BOP consumers. Let's take an example of Coca-Cola's partnership with informal vendors. Coca-Cola leverages informal network of small vendors to distribute its product across rural India. These vendors, trusted by locals, ensure product availability even in the most remote location. With that, Coca-Cola is able to achieve market penetration. Coca-Cola's distribution strategy via informal channel has been instrumental in building its rural presence, also enhance the brand loyalty, particularly in areas where formal retail is not available or very rare. It also provides the third reason can be economic empowerment. By involving small vendors, Coca-Cola supports local livelihood while also growing its market share in such market. So, that was the reason 2 for dealing with informal economy. Let's see third reason for dealing with informal economy, insights into consumer behavior. Informal entrepreneurs interact with consumers daily, offering first-hand insight into BOP preferences, their spending habits and the challenges which they are facing. Let's take example of Dabur's rural strategy. Dabur India actively utilizes inputs from informal networks to design herbal products tailored to rural taste and rural preferences. What is the result? The company is successfully strengthened its brand as a trusted household name in rural India by addressing specific consumer needs because they were having better insight. Data suggests rural sales account for a significant portion of Dabur's total revenue, underscoring the importance of informal network in shaping product strategy. So, that is how we can see that market insight can be available to the brands if they are connecting well with informal economy. Let's see some data highlights to understand contribution. The informal economy in Indian market is having higher contribution to employment. The informal economy employs over 80% of India's workforce, providing livelihoods for approximately 400 million people. Their economic share is high. It contributes around 50% of India's GDP, making it a cornerstone of the nation's economic activity. Third, they are having high potential for growth. Businesses stepping into this ecosystem can unlock immense opportunity in the rural and semi-urban market, where over 65% of India's population resides in such kind of market, local markets. It is always good to deal with informal economy ecosystem or informal economy ecosystem in the market, right. So, to conclude, engaging with the informal economy is not just about expanding your business, it is also about fostering social and economic growth. By leveraging informal networks, companies can achieve last mile connectivity, they can build trust and gain invaluable market insights. This collaboration is the key to sustainable success in BOP market. We all understand that informal economy may not be very right thing to do because it is not part of our taxation system or regulation, but government is doing works to make sure that trying to bring more and more financial inclusivity and trying to bring this informal sector into the formal sector gradually. But for businesses to operate in BOP market, it is important to deal with this ecosystem. Now, let us move to our next segment where we will see challenges in engaging with the informal economy. Engaging with the informal economy is critical for fostering inclusivity and economic growth, but it comes with notable challenges. So, let us explore this in greater detail, what all challenges are there. Supported by figures and real world example, we will try to understand how dealing with informal economy can be challenging. The first challenge, regulatory risk. Informal businesses often operate outside formal regulations, leaving them vulnerable to abrupt policy changes or government intervention. We will take one example. In Bengaluru, one city of India, frequent street vendor eviction during urban development projects have disrupted thousands of livelihoods. This not only destabilizes income, but it also weakens local supply chains, affecting access to goods for low income population. The statistics suggest the National Association of Street Vendors of India NASVI estimates that there are 10 million street vendors in India, with many facing eviction risk on regular basis. On daily basis, they are shifting from one place to other and always having that challenge of they may be evicted from their regular places or regular distribution system. Then if we go to global insight, in Africa, regulatory crackdown on informal trade routes result in annual revenue losses which are estimated at $16 billion due to disrupted trade flows, cite homepage. So, irregularity of that system can be challenged. The second challenge is scalability issues. Fragmented informal network and small scale operations hinder uniform scalability. For instance, a lack of formal records complicates coordinating among suppliers, vendors and service providers. Let us see one example in India. Approximately 63.4 million micro businesses operates informally without unified system for coordination in the market. This fragmentation results in inefficiencies and an inability to meet demand surges consistently. What implication of this? Businesses entering these markets face higher transaction cost and they also face multiple logistical challenges in streamlining operations. The third challenge is heavy reliance on cash. Most informal businesses rely heavily on cash transactions, limiting the adoption of digital finance solutions and also reduce their access to the formal credit or insurance. Based on data insight, we can see 80% of India's workforce is employed in the informal sector, where over 90% of transactions are cash based. This is the situation when we are already seeing digital payment as a buzz thing. This cash dependency excludes informal workers and businesses from accessing government schemes like loan under the Mudra Yojana, which requires some form of digital banking, and that is why government is trying hard to bring that financial inclusion and making sure most of this informal economy people start dealing with banks and create bank accounts and digital transactions. Let us see some global perspective. In Latin America, a similar issue exists with only 55% of adults having their bank account. This kind of things prevents micro enterprises from integrating into larger supply chain. What can be the solution? Solution can be the Indian government's push for financial inclusion, such as the Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana has brought 500 million new bank accounts into the formal economy. But adoption in the informal sector is still slow and it is difficult to bring them into the market. These were the main challenges. We will see a few more additional challenges like lack of social security. Informal workers often lack health insurance and pensions that leaves them vulnerable during any crisis. Second additional challenge can be skill development. Limited access to formal training restricts opportunities for income and improvement as well as the diversification in this market. Representation, the absence of unions or advocacy group means informal workers have little collective bargaining power for their rights, for their laws and so on. So, to conclude with, while the informal economy holds immense potential for economic inclusivity, addressing these challenges requires targeted policy interventions, private sector collaboration and digital transformation. Successful initiatives like Skill India Mission and Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana provides a roadmap for integrating the informal economy into broader economic framework. So, that is all for today's session. Thank you.